Hi everybody, I hope that you're all doing really well. So I was not planning on filming a video today, as you can probably tell by the fact that there's like cleaning products in the background and I've got my sweatshirt on rather than like a nice shirt or a dress. However, it is Sunday, I was having my lunch and I stumbled across a video of the TBR tag and I don't know, I was just inspired to do it. And there was nobody in the house. I had a face of makeup on because I've been talking to Claudia at Spencer's Library for a video that I don't know if it'll be out by the time that this is up, but I will link it down either way. And I feel like when you've got all your ducks in a row like that, you have to kind of take advantage of the mood. This tag is basically just talking about your relationship to your TBR pile or your to be read pile. I always want to keep a really small one and then my willpower really gives out and I buy more books than I can read. I'm sure there are a lot of people who can relate to that sentiment. So question number one is, how do you keep track of your TBR pile? Like I say, I do not have a big sprawling TBR pile, so I don't have as many books to keep accounted for as other people. And pretty much all of my TBR pile does fit into my little TBR trolley. I have the little blue trolley that pretty much everybody on BookTube has at this point. I have a collection of short stories that's on my nightstand, and I always keep out the books that I'm currently reading, but generally if it's unread, it goes to my TBR pile. Once I've read that book, it will go on my shelves, and the current system that I have in this room, since I don't have like lots of bookshelf space, is that any book that I have finished reading but I've not yet talked about in a wrap-up goes onto one shelf, and then once I have talked about it in a video, it migrates over to the other shelf. Question number two is your TBR mostly print or ebook? I also feel like audiobook should be listed there too. I currently don't actually own a Kindle or an iPad where I would read ebooks, so that doesn't account for anything for me. I do have like a list of saved audiobooks on my Scribd account, but I don't really think of them as like my to be read. I kind of treat that like a bookshop, just kind of saving it until I want to read it, but it doesn't count towards my TBR number. So yeah, pretty much all of my TBR is print. Question number three is, how do you determine which book from your TBR to read next? As I've said in the past, I'm very much a mood reader, so I will pretty much just look at my TBR trolley and think, what out of that do I want to read? Pick it up and go. And to be honest, it will often be something that I've hauled recently, which is one of the reasons why I do prefer to have a smaller TBR, is because I know that the books that I haul will tend to be the things that I read first. So there's no point me buying a bunch of books, because when the time comes for me to read them, I'm not going to be as into them. And yet I keep on buying them because I think, no, this time will be the time. It's silly. Question number four is a book that's been on your TBR the longest. Now, I was actually quite good during the lockdown. I think it was in July or August where I managed to read most of the books on my TBR, bar one. At least everything that I had bought pre-lockdown I had read, aside from this bad boy, War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. And I think you can tell the reason that I have not yet picked this up, because he's a very chunky boy. I do keep on saying though that this year needs to be the year that I read this. Whether or not that actually comes to fruition, who knows, but it is on my list of things to read. So I don't know. At some point, I just, it's like Les Mis, it's a massive time commitment. You know that once you've committed to doing it, you are going to be reading it for the long haul. Question number five is a book that you recently added to your TBR. I actually think one of the most recent additions to my TBR that I've not yet read is this, Ruth by Elizabeth Gaskell. You'll probably know at the end of last year, beginning of this year, I was on a bit of an Elizabeth Gaskell kick. I read Wives and Daughters, which then spurred me on to reread North and South, which I previously had not liked and then reread it and loved. Then I read Cranford, and then I read My Cousin Phyllis, and yeah, I been off Elizabeth Gaskell for a couple of months and now I feel like it's time to go back. I'd quite like to make my way through Elizabeth Gaskell's work, and so when I saw this in the charity shop I was like, she's coming home with me. Question number six is a book in your TBR strictly because of its beautiful cover. Now, to be honest, I do not buy books solely because of their beautiful covers, but a beautiful cover doesn't hurt things. And the thing that really springs to mind for me when it comes to a book where I was like, this has got a gorgeous cover now, yes, let's get it, is this, Children of Jocasta by Natalie Haynes. I had gone into Daunt Books with the full intention that I was going to pick this up, but I had presumed that I was going to be picking it up in its original cover, which looks like this, and it is not the prettiest thing in the world. But you know, I had thought to myself, if I see it, I'll get it, not knowing that they had recently just released this beautiful thing. And so, as I said in my whole video, when I saw it like face out and it was so pretty, I was just like, mine. Question number seven is a book on your TBR that you never plan on reading. Now, personally, if I come across a book and realise that I have no intention of actually reading it, it doesn't tend to stay on my TBR for much longer. I do tend to pass along books on my TBR that I'm like, no. But you know, there are definitely books that are lower down in priority for me. Something like Now We Shall Be Entirely Free by Andrew Miller, which I picked up last summer. And I think the main reason for it was because I knew it was historical fiction, I'd heard of it, and I'd never seen it in a charity shop, so I thought, might as well pick it up. But I don't know 100% if this is going to be a me book, and because of that, I've been putting off reading it. There's quite low excitement around this book for me. And it has been on my unhaul pile a few times, but every single time I've ended up taking it back out because I've been like, well, it's historical fiction. Shouldn't I read it to see if it is the kind of thing that I like? You know, it's got this beautiful little Regency lady on the front cover. I'm just worried that it's going to be a little bit boring, a little blah. We're following somebody who was a soldier in the British Army against Napoleon. And I'm just thinking, like, if it's going to be too military, then I'm not going to be interested. But still, the fact that it is historical fiction is what's keeping it on my pile to see if I am interested. And I am just noticing, like, there's a bit of a matchy-matchy going on here, isn't there? So she's staying for now. I'm gonna give this a shot. Question number 8 is an unpublished book on your TBR that you're excited for. I have not yet gotten to the level of booktubedom where I am getting, like, proofs where publishers are sending me things that aren't yet published. And I mean, if you are a publisher and you think that there's something that I might want to read, then hi. My name is Charlotte. I like historical fiction and history non-fiction, please. So really, to answer this question, I'm going to have to look at something on my wish list. What's coming out in the next few months that I want to read? This question's really just giving you a sneak peek for my, like, anticipated releases of the second half of the year. So I think currently on my list of books that are anticipated releases for the second half of the year, the book that I am most excited for, that I'm definitely going to be picking it up when it's published, is Ask a Historian: 50 Surprising Answers to Things You Always Wanted to Know by Greg Jenner. Will I ever shut up about Greg Jenner and the You're Dead to Me podcast? Probably not. It will never happen. So if anybody at Wiedenfeld and Nicholson want to send me a proof, then hi. Question number 9 is a book on your TBR that basically everyone's read but you. I think if I'm going for something that's really recent, that it seems like everybody's read but me, then probably Exciting Times by Nisha Dolan. Another book that was on my unhaul pile that I ended up saving because I'm like, I feel like I need to know what I think about this. And then a slightly older book that I feel like everybody who is into historical fiction has read but me, is The Other Bennett Sister. The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory. I have not yet read a Philippa Gregory, and I have had this on my TBR pile for a good, like, 6 months or so. I keep on saying that I'm going to do, like, a history graduate reacts to Philippa Gregory for the first time kind of video. And I have read, like, the first 10 pages of this and was like, and then ended up putting it down. I will get back to it, but I'm just not looking forward to it. I know that I'm going to get grumpy with this book. My apologies to Claire Fenby, who I know really likes The Other Boleyn Girl. Question number 10 is a book on your TBR that everyone recommends to you. I feel like the best answer to this is Black and British: A Forgotten History by David Olusoga. This is definitely a book that I've heard nothing but fantastic things about. And people have been recommending this to me for the better part of like 4 years, so I keep on saying I'm going to read it. I will read it. I will. It's only because it's quite a chunky history. And then another one on that kind of line is The Familiars by Stacey Halls. I feel like I just see this everywhere. It's always recommended when people talk about historical fiction. And I've been putting it off mainly because I read Stacey Hall's book, The Foundling, and didn't love it. I thought it was okay. I didn't find it offensive, but it wasn't anything to write home about. But the concept for this seems interesting. And I know Shah from Thoroughly Enjoyed Books really enjoyed this. So she thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I'm hilarious. So yeah, I do want to see what I make of it.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Question number 11 is a book on your TBR that you're dying to read. I mean, the book that I am dying to read usually on my TBR is the one that I am currently reading. And so in that case, I'm just going to tell you what I'm currently reading, which is The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. This is set in the 19th century in Oxford, so it has been like the perfect book to read right now as I'm trying to make my way around Oxford and start to learn more about the area. And I'm already coming across like street names that I know, especially Banbury Road. That is being mentioned so many times, and it is a road that I'm becoming very familiar with. And it's all about a young girl whose father works to put together the Oxford English Dictionary, but she has a little bit of a penchant for stealing words, particularly words that get discarded for various reasons, but especially words that are seen as slang, as being language of the lower classes. I'm about 100 pages into this. I've not really gotten into the meat of it, I think, yet. but it's really, really interesting so far, and is starting to feel quite personal to me because of the fact that I am now living in Oxford and reading a book that is set in Oxford. And then finally, the last question number 12, is how many books are on your TBR shelf? So currently I have 35 books on my TBR, 36 if you count the fact that I'm pretty sure that I've got a book coming in the post. I've been working really, really hard at whittling down my TBR, and then in the last couple of weeks I have been book shopping those charity shops, which is really derailing the process of whittling down the TBR. I am a very weak human, what can I say? That being said, I know that 35 is very small in comparison to other people's TBRs, and every single time that I mention that my TBR is out of control, people are like, Charlotte, you're fine, calm down. And also because I have my TBR trolley, I feel like it would be a shame to not have like a few books in there. If I literally just have like 1 or 2 books on my TBR pile, then what's the point of having the trolley? It's just going to be a process of playing around, seeing what works, what makes my brain happy. I know that I find having too many books overwhelming, but I also know that I'm not fantastic with a book buying ban, so. Anyway, that is the end of this tag video. Do let me know your answers to any of these questions. If you're feeling brave enough, do let me know how many books you've got on your TBR. I'd love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic, fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks.